Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Matt Smith and my partner here.
Don Lancaster.
We do the Fish and TopWater radio show for years, and we've been starting up this YouTube channel. And this time of year, you know, everybody's getting excited about TopWater baits coming into play, right?
They will after we finish this.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I know the water's starting to warm up a little bit. We keep in Virginia here. We keep getting crazy days where it's 70 degrees one day, 40 degrees the next, 32 degrees at night, and there's ice
2
in the
hours
car.
ago, we were planning on going fishing until you and I both stepped outside.
Yep, with the winds this weekend, especially, we had the nor'easter come through, so we had 70 mile an hour winds, 50 mile an hour winds, and still managed to get out there yesterday and catch a few fish. But with TopWater coming into season, everybody's getting excited, and that water's starting to warm up. It hits that 55-degree mark, and it's going to be on. So we wanted to talk a little bit about TopWater and discuss everything except frogs, because frogs could be like a whole nother thing. There's so many different kind of frogs and things like that. So we've got a little craziness going on right here. We'll see if we can make this happen for you. A little bit of alternatives to throwing frogs. Okay, real simple. That's pretty high-tech camera work right there, wasn't it, Captain?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
All right, Captain. So TopWater season's coming in. What's your favorite type of TopWater to throw?
Favorite, if the situation is right, you couldn't give me anything but a jitterbug.
Okay.
That'll do it. But they've got so many more. You have so many lures down here right now. You know, that jointed jitterbug is one of the newer innovations. I say newer. The old jitterbug is a small one you got right there in front of there. And I've got one about half that size that I just love to throw. It's that exact color. And when the situation is right, you can just take well, I won't tell you that. Take everything else and throw it away.
No, not at all. And then this one, any tournament angle knows exactly what they're looking at right there. That's been around forever. And then you've got your headings. You've got all different type baits.
Well, and the buzz baits have come out now, too. That's
buzz baits, anything from something like these guys with the dual blades to a double-bladed bait. Really want to wake them up. You got double-bladed baits. You've got a spinner bait, a buzz bait with a clacker. Going to make an additional noise whacking that clacker. And of course your different finishes on the blades, things like that. All like that, with different two-color blades, that kind of thing, making different noises, different gurgling noises, things like that. So your buzz baits, early in the morning, typically late in the evening, even at dark, buzz baits will work. You take a black buzz bait across the top at night, it's just crazy work. So
I meant to bring one that I have. I have a jitterbug that's probably this size, a regular jitterbug, that I got in 1972 when I started to college. I bought a jitterbug to fish one of the lakes in central Mississippi. And at night, you couldn't keep it in the water. I mean, cast it out, let glug a couple of times, and the bass hit it. One of the old timers grabbed me and took me aside at a promotion I was doing in one of the tackle shops in Goshen, Mississippi. And he said, I want to tell you something. Take this and put this in your tackle box with you. And it was a little can about 4 inches high that had airplane black lacquer paint, spray paint in it. He said, keep this because you always want to keep that lure black. Don't let anything shine through. I don't know how many coats of paint I've got on it, but it still produces
still
fish.
black. It's still getting heavy too. So like you mentioned, the hula popper and the jitterbug, probably everybody's first freshwater bait, right? I know it was one of mine, two of mine, ordering back when I was a kid, looking in catalogs or ordering or something like that. So things like that, great bait. You've got all different types they've come out with now, from the ducks, the Savage Gear ducks, with the tail, with the feet that spin, that kind of thing. You've got that in various designs and colors. And yeah, I've got a whole flock of these guys. Lunker Hunt just came out with, yes, it's a frog, but that's got the same type feet right there on a soft-bodied frog. It's got the trailer hook plus the double hooks, and that's a Lunker Hunt frog, prop frog. And then they just came out again with a turtle.
Oh, my
We've
goodness.
seen the turtles in the soft
That ought to
plastic
be outlawed.
turtles and things like that. But again, you've got a trailer hook out behind the feet, you've got the double feet, and a soft bait. I was throwing this the other day just to see what it would look like in the water, and even extreme slow speeds. This is just barely turning these feet, making them look like they swim. So
look at the
crazy
vampire bats you got down there. They ought to be outlawed. You shouldn't be able to keep them in your tackle box. Ugliest lure I ever saw
Another
in my
bait,
life.
the Savage Gear bat. Y'all think they're crazy, but like Don called them, a giant crawler. The original crawler baits, we got one out here. The original crawlers, like these, got that crazy walk going on, and these bats, when they cast, they're like an arrow, literally like an arrow. They'll fly, and then when they get in the water, these long wings really create an odd walk on them. And you've got a couple different sizes. You've got that larger bat, smaller bats, and then there's a bigger one too. So yes, Tommy Schroeder, there's a bigger one for you. So again, all odd style baits. They're not frogs. They're alternatives to throwing frogs. TopWater bait, you never know what's going to wake them up, right, Captain?
That's, you know, the thing you got, I wish the folks could kind of peep over our shoulder and see that there's not hardly 6 square inches on the top of this stool we have in front of us. It's not covered with a lure.
Right.
Lures are made to catch fishermen.
What are you trying to say,
Colors
Captain?
are made to catch fishermen.
But you never know the shadings, what's going to work.
And then you get those fishermen who said, well, you know, the lures make, but maybe if I had this color to go along with the 4,000 other colors I got, and that's the way tackle boxes get filled up.
And that's why my vehicle got named the Test and Evaluation Station. And you know,
got
because
that
you can
right.
pretty much get anything out of it. Because yes, I am a tackle junkie, and Captain, that's the first step to admitting it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, back to different types of topwater baits. A good friend of mine, DM Cricket Lures, created this little guy. Now, first he came out with a small one that he was using for panfish and things like that. Now he's got this size. He made a larger size, which is awesome for bass. It's big enough to catch the bass, big enough to hold on to them. And now they just came out with colors. If you look at the Fish and Tidewater Facebook page, I posted the picture of all the different colors that he's come out with in these crickets as well. So, you know, that kind of thing. Again, the colors, depending on your area. If you're fishing a lot of tannins in the water, like down at Bob's Fishing Hole, the blacks and oranges work really good. If you're in crystal clear water, you got to match what's in the water. You know, whether you're doing a darker bait or a bluegill bait or what you're doing, whether it's perch. Depends on what you're fishing for.
If you got a favorite lure, whether it's one of this 75 different varieties laying down there on this table, or just a favorite color, get a hold of Captain Matt and let him get a hold of, he knows every one of these lure manufacturers by birth certificate, I think. But a lot of them, well, almost every lure and every special color that's going out right now, generated by either one of the fishing pros.
That's right.
Or some country boy sitting on the bank loading a basket up with fish because it's some cockamamie colored paint that he had in the barn.
Yep.
And all you have to do is drop a hint on them. Have Matt get a hold of one of the manufacturers and see if they have a color to match it, and you know, work it out, because that's the way the new colors come about.
That's right. You're fishing a specific lake. What colors work best for you? You know, everybody's out there customizing on the water, and there's a lot of guys out there that will customize your baits. You can go in and buy stuff off the shelf at a Bass Pro or Dick's or wherever you're going to go. Your local tackle shop is always the best place to start, and then you can send them to these guys and they'll put a unique finish on it. They've all got different talents, different techniques that they do, and some really beautiful work comes out, which gives you that unique bait that those fish haven't seen every day of their life in every tournament, because everybody's bought them off the shelf and thrown them. So yeah, color does make a difference. Matte finish or shine, or depending on what it is, will make a difference. Cloudy days, sunny days, clear water, muddy water, you know, and even in the same lake, the wind's blowing across the lake and it stays clear at that one side, but where it's pushing all the bait fish up against the other side, that water gets all dirty. So fishing one side of a lake to another is going to change what you're doing as well. So,
and you know, as we go along and get closer to the real heat of the season, we'll be going over crankbaits and favorite colors and best catching colors. Spinner baits, my God,
yep.
Spinner baits, we could fill the floor up in here
and
with
there's
them.
so many good guys. Lure Concepts of Vero. John Lorenzen, he custom makes them the way you want. Alvin Pagliani from Grey Goat Lures. Go on their websites. You can customize the blade. You can customize the style, the head, the skirts, whatever you want. So that industry has gotten huge too.
And don't worry, these guys are not bashful either. They'll give you credit if you come up with a color that they don't have, that they mix together to get that shade or whatever it is. Then they take it out and find out that they can't keep it in the water because the fish knock it. You'll get credit for coming up with that new style or new color.
And then you've got, like I said, we can do a whole episode, and we're going to do another one on just frogs because there's so many different style frogs, different techniques for throwing frogs, different finishes, different hooks on them, different things like that.
Hot spots.
Yep. So we can do different things like that. Another one, not a frog, it's very similar in that soft body, is live target sunfish. These guys, again, are a soft body bait. That fish lays on its side. Several different versions, sizes, colors. Whether you want black crappie or what you want, but they're a soft bait with that double frog hook on there, sitting out there. Here's one. You may not have seen this one. This is one of Captain Don's favorite. It's the big giant rhinoceros beetle with the front like that, soft plastic front. It does make a lot of commotion in the water, but double hooks on the back, just like the frog, and one of Captain Don's favorites.
I'll tell you what, that is the ugliest lure that I've ever seen, but I can't wait to put it on the end of a line.
It's kind of close to this one, Captain. This is an Arbogast buzzbait, TopWater buzzbait on there. Big old hook hanging off the back. Talk about some commotion in the water. And we've caught fish on these, we've thrown these, and Don looks at me like I'm crazy, and then I'm reeling in a fish, and he gets all upset.
That scares me just to hold it.
You've got baits like this where it is a frog, but the back feet are the buzzbait. We're bringing it in. So it's not just that front-loaded buzzbait that you see all the time. You've got them like this as well, in all different styles from that.
And if you stop to think about what we've been talking about contacting local pros and have them give your suggestions to lure manufacturers and see what takes place, the lure manufacturers are going to go ahead and experiment with colors and mixing colors together to come up with the shade or the color you want. And then if they find out that the fish are even the least bit interested in it, they'll go ahead and keep tinkering with it. Now, if every fish in the tank swims to the other end of the tank and leaves it alone, they'll thank you very much for your time and probably send you the reject. But it's you just got, and I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but you just got to have enough guts to put it on the end of the line and throw it out to the fish. Leave it laid in your tackle box or in the store on the shelf, just gathering dust. And regardless of how ugly it is, don't spit on it. Well, an example is, and I heard one of the guys on the pro fishing program on TV Saturday, sometime I was watching it, and he was talking about the innovation that's taken place over the years. Ray Scott was primarily responsible for generating the fishermen that generated new colors and what have you. And the one color that was almost 100% turned down by all the pro fishermen was pink. You couldn't give them a pink worm until pink worms put a whole bunch of them in the closet. And they then decided that maybe it wasn't as bad as that. And I'm one of them that did it. What were we were fishing the
floating pink worms and
the James River and Chip Oaks Creek. I'd never been over to Chip Oaks Creek, and one of my buddies had gone over with a pink floating worm and killed him. Came back and had live well on his boat was so full of fish you couldn't hardly get in there. And so, needless to say, I had 2 or 3 bags of pink worms I put in my boat, and I went over and started throwing them. And all you had to do is throw, I don't care how you worked it, put a lead head on it and work it like Texas rig,
There you go,
Uh-oh.
Captain. You're a popular guy.
Listen, somebody heard me say that and they want to go fishing
They
now.
want to buy the pink and purple rings. So,
Hello.
you gotta love it.
Okay,
He
don't
used to
talk
do
to
this
me.
on the air all the time too. So, in the middle of a conversation, he gets a call and takes it. But no big deal. Hey, Captain, what about the old prop styles? You know, you've got like the standard headings, been around forever, very good bait. And then you've got the props. Some have just the prop on the back. Some have the like these, they have the props on the back. You've got some with the props on the front and the back. You got the Smithwicks, always classic. These guys,
One of my favorite topwater lures of all time.
great bait, all different colors in these. And then you've got your jerk baits that have a prop on the back. This has been great this spring. This has been a great bait for us. And then your regular jerk baits, whether you're doing a floating and you can drop that down 6 or 8 inches and bring it back to the top. You know, different finishes, different colors, all that kind of thing as well. So you've got wake baits. You got a sectioned wake bait. There's so many different ones of these too that you can use and not just swim across the top with a different unique kind of action. Arashi just came out. With a pretty unique topwater bait too. Pretty cool looking design. Again, going to catch you as a fisherman, but I bet you this is a good bait in the water with those colors. And then the infamous, everybody's talking about these two bad boys, is your whopper ploppers. Right? These are the smaller ones. They make 3 different sizes in those. There's a lot of guys custom designing those as well. Send them out and get them custom painted as well. Typically works great if there's a rip on the water and a typical silent topwater bait may not be able to be seen, or these guys will make all the noise in the world, and there's guys that throw them every cast all day long. Another one, Captain, a little bit bigger.
I don't have a rod and reel big enough to hold those up.
That's a stutter step. Big paddle tail on the back, big topwater bait, gives a lot more action going back and forth on the top of the water. P&H Lures came out with a whopper plopper style bait. Got a metal blade on the back here that does the same thing. Great bait. Again, different finishes, different colors. The classic black, beautiful bait. And then, Captain, you've got soft plastics that are topwater baits now, right? Now, actually, you ever throw a dragonfly, Captain?
I'm just getting ready to say you're going to break out the lures now that are going to make. There's a whole bunch of saliva going to be flooding all the TV stations around.
Couple different baits. River to Sea came out with a hard-bodied dragonfly. Got a clear plastic jitterbug style front. It's a little floating baby and just goes out there, and you can just sit there and twitch your rod and get some more, little ripples coming out from these things. Different colors, different designs.
See the big cup under its head? That's the jitterbug phase of it.
Yep. And they send you actually a couple extra sets of wings, and you can see the little screws. You can replace the wings when the bass maul these things. Good friend of mine, Gary Staton, custom makes soft plastics. And he has got a very unique dragonfly bait. Soft plastic dragonflies that float. You put a #1 style hook in these bad boys, and they're going to float, and he'll do any color you want in that thing. He's just amazing what he can do. And these guys, I said, a #1 offset hook, and these guys will float right on the top, and just twitch them a little bit, get that little ripple coming out from them, and slam. I've been catching them on these. He's made me probably 8, 9 different colors. I've seen him create all sorts of things for people. So you've got hard topwater baits. You've got the soft style perches and things like that. You've got the soft plastic baits. Along the lines of soft plastic, also, Captain, Z-Man baits. Z-Man came out with a popping frog. Soft plastic, rig it like you would any other. Right there.
On a package over here on your counter.
Different sizes in those too.
Little cup
Got
heads,
that
gotta
cut
be
front.
productive.
Floating. Again, small offset hooks, pop them in there. Then another one they came out with, which is just a killer, is the pop shads. Slit right there so you can get your hook up in there, up in the top. Again, cupped front. They got whites, they got different colors, different finishes. But those are Z-Man along with these popping frogs. And great soft plastic baits for topwater. What else we got here, Captain? We got mice.
You know, you were talking about the brim that they got there, the soft plastic. And there's an article in Bassmaster magazine that came out this week that I was reading, and they're begging the everyday weekend angler to go on out and pick up 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 soft plastic brim sunfish to use because the price has come down. Mm-hmm. Those, when they first came out, were anywhere from $14.95 to $29.95 each.
Yep.
And there are still some of the bigger ones that are that expensive. But I'm not really out to see if I can break the world record. I sure would just like to hair lip a fish.
Nah, they've come down a lot. Another live target, soft plastic bait. It's a live target mouse. Set up like that, great bait. Always has its use. Grasses, things like that. Savage Gear came out with a mouse. Awesome bait. And then Spro. The Spro mouse also, they give you extra tails. You can do a gray tail, you can do the pink tail. The Spro mouse, when this hits together, swimming, it makes a little knock because these two hard bodies knock a little bit together. But again, they'll go down about 4 inches. Maybe that's it. You don't find mice swimming along the bottom, so you can leave this real slow coming along the top. It's got a ton of action, and beautiful baits for that. Another one that I talk about all the time is the Boing lures. Great topwater bait. That's a snapping turtle color right there. Great topwater bait. It's got a little green shine in the top, crackle red. You've got the Reese color right there. Black topwater, so it's actually a purple and red with a glitter in it right there. And the poppers, again right there. Beautiful baits, great action. They got a one wire to a bearing. It's not a rattle, but it makes a unique ping, almost like a popping cork would. So a bait like that for pups and things like that, saltwater, awesome bait. What else, Captain? Unfair lures. Unfair lures is a crossover, saltwater, freshwater, whatever you want to do. They make a popper like that, massive size. They make them smaller as well. Unfair lures are very unique. We'll probably do a whole episode on unfair lures because of all the different features on these. I just want to put them out there. A couple walkers. And of course, you've got another topwater. You see the gills, you see swivels on the front, unique hooks, things like that. And then even your jerk baits. You've got suspending jerk baits, you've got topwater jerk baits. So same styles, keep the same colors in your box, but depending on how the fish are reacting, whether you're going to use a floating or one that goes down 3 or 4 feet or whatever you want. So, Captain, you got a lot of different choices other than frogs to throw for topwater.
That's why my favorite saying is lures are made to catch fishermen.
Nah.
And boy, have they hooked you.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I throw them all. Anybody that's fished with me knows I'm going to change baits
I
every 10
promise you
casts.
that I'll be forced to help you, but I'll try my best to help you put as many of those in the water and tempt and see what happens.
I know you will. I know you will. And there's a lot you can get clear off the shelf. Standards, jointed top waters. Your skitter pops like that, a little smaller. You got a couple different versions, a couple different sizes there. You've got your standard topwater walkers like that, and again prop baits, topwater prop. So
we'll sit down here shortly if the clouds stick around and the wind blows enough where we can't go out and actually put our thoughts to work and lay a schedule out of what kind of lure we'll use when we can get out there. And, we may have a 15-minute session on a particular lure, but that doesn't mean we're going to fish for 15 minutes and then come home. If that's the case, I'm going to take up marbles.
Captain, you think all these half-hour fishing shows, they've caught all this fish in 30 minutes? Sometimes you get that day.
I made several programs with Jeff Dane, who used to have a show over in Virginia Beach, and Eric Burnley, and we were making. He called me and asked me if I'd do a movie or a show with him to promote the Evan Rood National Championships that were being held. He said, absolutely. We made arrangements and met for breakfast and got in the boat and launched at Chickahominy Haven Marina and went out and went downriver, and it was just about low tide, went downriver and had the entire incoming tide to fish all the lily pads, and it was like somebody died and dropped me right in the bucket of fish. And we caught fish and caught fish and he didn't want to fish, honestly. He wanted to run the camera, and he did. So we got fish back up to the restaurant and decided we're going to go in and have a bite to eat and come back out. And I said, now, we're going upriver to fish some lily pads up there that are just now getting flooded. He said, no, we're going to go right there. And I said, beg your pardon? He said, we're going to go right there and we'll start fishing. And I said, oh, you know, it's your show. So he breaks out a monster. I have a box of spinnerbaits and a couple of brutes in there, gigantic ones. And he gets one of the biggest spinnerbaits that I got in there out and said, here, tie this on. He reaches in my live well and gets a bass, hooks on it. And he just drops it right over the side and lets it lay right there beside the boat. Then he reaches in the box and gets another bass out and hooks on it too. And I thought, what is going on here? And he said to me, now the camera's off, and to me he said, now I'm gonna get back here and get up on the seat and get the camera running, and you just let the line go. And I'll tell you when to stop letting the line go, and then as soon as they start to give you a bend in the rod, set the hook. And I thought, I don't know that I want to come back to Newport News, Virginia. Anybody that looks at this thing going to throw rocks at me.
Yep, that they would, Captain.
But the folks don't realize how great the fishing is around here, and that's the Chickahominy and the James. But I'm already making contact with all the freshwater lakes around the area through Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, and we'll have some pretty good shows that we'll advertise in advance of where we're going to go and put some.
We'll set up and hit the different parks around, state parks, national parks, things like that, and do it. So again, we're going to do another whole one just on frogs, because there's several people out there like myself that's a frog fanatic. I'm not really into all this TopWater stuff. I couldn't even say that. But you get those kind of days, you know. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll go out and get something.
You know, if you have any questions, pay attention. We'll be running this on Facebook.
We'll run the links to the Facebook page over to the YouTube page. So, like we did the last time, it's been a while. We were planning on getting this started and rolling. It's been a while. We'll try to keep it more consistent for everybody. But thank for joining us.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck to everybody. Be cool and be careful when you get out there on the water.
All right, y'all have a great day.